So, what is law? I mean, really, we live by it every single day, but actually pinning down a definition, that's one of the oldest puzzles in philosophy. Well, today, we're going to unpack one of the most influential answers ever proposed.
All right, let's really get into it. You'd think it's simple, right? Law is just the rules. But hang on a second. Who actually makes these rules? Who gets to decide what they really mean? And where does their power even come from? I mean, is a law still a law if nobody bothers to enforce it? See, this is where it all starts to get super interesting.
And here's an answer from the jurist John Salmond that kind of flips the whole thing on its head. He basically argues that law isn't just a bunch of rules written down in some dusty old book. Nope. The real action, he says, is in the courtroom. For Salmond, law is what the state, through its courts, actually does when it's administering justice.
Okay, so let's break down this really powerful judge-centric way of looking at the world. What does it actually mean when we say that law is defined by what the courts do? Let's get into it.
All right, Salmond's logic basically works like this. Think of a rule from Parliament. He says that's just a source of law. It's not the real deal yet. It only becomes actual law at the very moment a judge recognizes it and applies it in a case. And that makes the courts the ultimate authority, doesn't it? The whole purpose of this is justice. And the final test is super simple. Can it be enforced in a court? If the answer is no, then according to Salmond, it's just not law. Simple as that. Now, here's where the theory gets really radical. Get this. Imagine a law written by Parliament clearly says one thing. But then the highest court in the land comes along and says, nope, it actually means something totally different. According to Salmond, the court's interpretation, even if it's a flat-out misinterpretation, becomes the law. That's just how much power the judiciary has in his model. It's wild when you think about it. Okay, it's a pretty clean, pretty elegant theory, right? But does it actually hold up in the messy, real world? Well, as you can imagine, there are some major critiques. Let's take a look. So the first big problem is the idea of justice itself. I mean, Salmond anchors his entire definition on it. But whose justice are we talking about exactly? Think about it. For centuries, slavery was perfectly legal and, believe it or not, considered just by the powers that be. Today, we look back on that as a massive, profound injustice. So if justice is this constantly moving target, how can it possibly be a stable foundation for defining law? And critics also point out that Salmond's view might just be too narrow. Is administering justice really the only purpose of law? I mean, what about just keeping society from falling apart, maintaining social order, or promoting public welfare, or balancing all our different freedoms? Modern law is expected to do all of this stuff, and a whole lot of that happens way outside of any courtroom. And that brings us to what is maybe the biggest challenge for this theory today. Salmond really puts the judge up on a pedestal, right? But think about how much of our modern legal world operates completely outside the courts. I'm talking about things like tax law, all the thousands of regulations for businesses, even the rules your local council makes. This is all absolutely law, but it's mostly created and enforced by government agencies, not judges in a courtroom. That's exactly right. I mean, just think about it. You've got administrative tribunals that decide things like your benefits. You have government ministers who can issue binding orders. You have regulatory bodies setting the rules for entire industries. All of these groups make rules that have the full force of law, and a lot of the time, a judge never even looks at them. And finally, what about those laws that are totally valid, but they just don't feel very fair? A classic example is something called a limitation law. Basically, if you wait too long to file a lawsuit, your right to do so just disappears forever. Is that just? Probably not. But is it the law? Oh yeah, absolutely. And that really shows that a law's legal validity isn't always tied to our personal sense of fairness, which is a huge problem for Salmond's justice-first approach. Okay, so we've poked some pretty serious holes in the theory, right? So is it time to just toss it out? Well, not so fast. Because despite all these critiques, Salmond's core ideas have this enduring power that makes them still incredibly relevant today. To really see why, it helps to compare Salmond to another famous jurist, Austin. Now, Austin had a very rigid, kind of simplistic view. He said law is just the command of a sovereign backed up by a threat. Do this or else. But Salmond's theory is so much richer. It connects the law to this higher ideal of justice and to the practical reality of how our rights are actually argued and decided in a real court. So when you look at it that way, his strengths are pretty clear. First, he absolutely nails the practical power that courts have to shape what the law actually means in our day-to-day lives. Second, he constantly reminds us that we want our legal system to be about justice. That's its ethical heart, its whole point. And by combining that ethical goal with the real-world institution of the courts, he gives us a really balanced and, frankly, an incredibly useful way to think about what law is.
So after all that, all the back and forth between the theory and the critiques, where do we finally land? What's the big takeaway here on what law truly is? Well, here's the bottom line. Salmond's theory probably isn't the whole story, right? It's not the complete definition of law for our super complex modern world. But what he gave us is an absolutely crucial piece of the puzzle. He forces us to see that law written down on paper is one thing, but the law as it's actually lived, argued, and decided in a courtroom, that's where its true power really lies. And that leaves us with one last thought, and it's a big one for the world we live in today. You see, Salmond's theory was all about human judges and national courts. But now we're facing a future of global rules, automated legal systems, and maybe even AI judges. So his central question becomes more urgent than ever. In that world, who or what gets to have the final say on what is just?